this is Steven Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus Smackdown. Okay, this show definitely showed signs of life. This show definitely showed strong choices being made. And, you know, something that I often say when it comes to booking, any kind of thing where you're planning out some kind of public performance or entertainment venture is make big choices. And they definitely made the big choices. We can quibble back and forth. Does this mean Edge is a heel or whatnot? But clearly they made a couple of strong choices here. Should they have been done weeks ago, months ago? Yes. But they are barreling headlong into WrestleMania. Folks, do you understand that in a week, we will just be days away from WrestleMania? They have to get on this stuff, and they made a number of strong choices. There are also a couple of inexplicably bad choices, but all in the service of, we got to get WrestleMania together. So in that sense, the show is inevitably going to be better because they're not going to be able to fall into a bunch of pitfalls that they normally do when they're making weak decisions, which is using one half of the show to promote the other half of the show. Instead, everything is in service eventually leading into WrestleMania. This is a post-Fastlane edition, but that doesn't really matter, does it? No. They have a video package showing how Edge blasted them both with the chair, meaning Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. So Edge versus Reigns is the official match for WrestleMania 37, but it's pretty clear after the opening segment and a couple of other things that happened that Daniel Bryan is going to be included in that. And in fact, I guess is the odds-on favorite to win it, which is very strange, but we'll talk about that later. Michael Cole's welcoming us to the show. The virtual crowd cheers. Oh, he's joined at ringside by Corey Graves. That's me sighing heavily, and you know what that means. Here comes Daniel Bryan. He's got a steel chair in his hand, leads a yes chant. And he rightfully crows that I made Reigns tap out, bro. Though it wasn't official, thanks to Edge. And he should be on his way to WrestleMania as the champ, but Edge and blah, 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 blah. I hate these opening long talking segments as a rule. I will say that this one was incredibly effective. Pierce is there. Pierce says that Reigns is still champion, and his next defense will be against Edge at WrestleMania 37. Bryan has a solution. How about Pierce make it Edge versus Reigns at WrestleMania with Bryan immediately facing the winner? Pierce says Bryan, of all people, knows how unfair that will be to make somebody do back-to-back title matches. Bryan laughs and brings up the fact that he had to go like 40 minutes in the Elimination Chamber, terrible name, before his title shot. He calls out the double standard. He says WrestleMania's 2 nights, so how about Edge versus Reigns on night 1 and the winner versus Bryan on night 2? He says that's reasonable. The fans chant yes. Out comes Edge. He stops at Pierce, slaps the mic out of his hand. Ooh, he's edgy. Get it? I just made that up. Yeah. So Edge just got a mic. He says that he's tired of watching Bryan act like a knight in shining armor. Bryan talks about how this could be his final WrestleMania. But every match could be the last for Edge. Ooh, oh boy, that line. Again, it seems like they're really tempting fate. I would not have said that. I think it comes across as rather heelish. But, you know, we're beyond worrying about that now. Now we're just trying to gin up some emotional attachment to this thing. I guess I see that. Edge goes on to say how Bryan is heroic for wanting to pick the bones of the winner, which is a valid point. Again, there is no nobility in any of this. And I know at this stage of the game, people will say, well, Steve, it doesn't really matter when it comes to baby faces and heels and wrestling. I'm still of the mind that it does. Everything just feels dirty and edgy and serves to make it not, I don't know, what it could be. So, um, Brian attacks Edge because he calls him a son of a bitch, and Edge works him over, hits the spear, lays him out, picks up the chair, stalks Brian, hits him with the chair shot over the back. Edge tosses the chair, looks on from the ramp. Okay. We get a video for Randy Orton versus The Fiend during night 2 of WrestleMania 37. They keep hyping the remaining tickets. I thought it was sold out. Interesting. They show us what just happened with Edge and Daniel Bryan. We see Heyman, Uso, and Reigns watching. Reigns tells Heyman to go get Adam Pearce. Heyman says, with pleasure. Reigns tells Uso to go with Heyman to use force if necessary. Ooh. Seth Rollins against Shinsuke Nakamura. A very good match. And of course, this is all in service of Rollins versus Cesaro eventually. But really good match between these two. Makes you realize the potential that they're just using as just a match for a show. But it is what it is. Rollins wins clean, as he should. Rollins attacks Nakamura while he's still down. Cesaro comes, saves his partner, almost gets him in the big swang, but Rollins escapes. All right. Adam Pearce is in the locker room with Roman Reigns. And he wants to understand that he gets Reigns for just one night at WrestleMania, one title defense. Pearce says he's almost inclined to agree with Reigns, but there's other things to consider. Pearce says he'll have the decision by the end of the night. Big E and the Street Profits against Apollo Crews and the Alpha Academy. This match comes across a lot better than you think it would. I guess that's a testament to Chad Gable and Otis doing their thing and improving. And so that's great. It's still what it is. And in the end, I mean, I wrote down in my notes, Big E's obviously got to get pinned by Crews. And that's exactly what happens. So now we apparently have a challenger to Big E. Booking 101 stuff. I would love to see them be more creative, but then again, they just don't have time. And I will take workmanlike at this stage of the game. We see how Sami Zayn attacked Kevin Owens last week. So I assume we're going to just set up Owens, Sami Zayn tonight, aren't we? Edge stops Adam Pearce, asking if Daniel Bryan's going to get what he wants, etc., etc. We keep teasing this decision. And Edge threatens Pearce. We get it, you're a heel. We go to the ring. We got the KO show. Yay. Calls Sammy out. Sammy comes out with his documentary film crew. Long story short, Zayn versus Owens one-on-one at WrestleMania, yes or no? Owens points to the sign. Sammy rants. And then, yeah, sure. Let's do it. Huh. Daniel Bryan approaches Adam Pearce backstage. He knows Pearce is under pressure. So now everybody's put the heat on poor Adam fucking Pearce. I love Adam Pearce. I loved booking him at PCW. I would just bring him back year after year for a big show just because I just think the world of Adam Pearce. And seeing him is one of the highlights of the show for me. Just being honest here. So I am biased. I think Adam Pearce is really great. I think he handles this role incredibly well. Maybe the best to ever do it. I know that sounds like a big, bold statement, but he does a great job. Really, really great. So we get Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair stuff. They show some clips. And then we're going to have Bianca Belair against Natalya. Who wins? Bianca Belair. As she should. After the match, Banks hits her with the backstabber. I'm the heel, says Sasha Banks. Okay, we've got that match clearly set. Good. Edge walks into the locker room of Roman Reigns. Uso yells at Edge. Reigns stands up and says, "You got balls." He said, "Yep." but they're old balls, and Vince McMahon realized I'm old. That's why they're putting Daniel Bryan in this thing. That's the rumor anyway. In any case, stuff happens. WrestleMania, it's just 15 days away. Oh my God, now just 14 days away. Madness. Dolph Ziggler against Rey Mysterio. This thing actually serves its purpose. Rey wins and sets him and his son up for a tag team title match against Ziggler and Rude. Yep. Here comes Adam Pearce. Here comes Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Jey Uso. Cole and Graves congratulate the great Khali and Kane on their Hall of Fame inductions. The fans chant, "You tapped out at Reigns." Ooh. We're back from the break, and the announcers hype Sami Zayn's red carpet premiere with Logan Paul. Logan Paul, really? For next week. That keeps you hip and edgy. Daniel Bryan comes out next. And long story short, Pierce announces it will be a Bryan versus Edge versus Reigns in a triple threat match at WrestleMania with the title on the line. He's happy. Reigns and Edge seethe. At the end of the day, people beat him ups. Bryan gets beat up. Edge is really taking it to Bryan. Producers come to try to stop Edge, but he drops them with chair shots. Sucks to be Pat Buck and Jamie Noble. Bryan's rolled out of the ring to safety, trying to calm Edge down. Reigns looks at that chaos, and Edge seethes and gets to take that old jaw and just go grrr. All right, well, literally every segment that happened lent itself towards WrestleMania. So SmackDown's in a rush, and it went well. I imagine Raw will be in a similar rush on Monday, and so it goes.